Hi, back for another math lesson. And when I was thinking about doing this math lesson, I was like, oh, I wish I had all my manipulatives here with me at the house. But like you, boys and girls, I can't go into the school. And so we're going to just do the best that we can with what we have. Hopefully, moms and dads, you're paying attention too, because this might be something you can do with the kids. We are talking about place value so that we can do these kinds of problems of double digit plus double digit. And in order to do those, your child really needs to understand place value. And so I went out in our garage and I made a tens. And this has 10 pumpkin seeds on it. Now, a long time ago, we used to use popsicle sticks and we would glue beans on, and then the kids could see that this was one group of 10. So you use whatever you have. Your child may not need this at this point, but this is one way you can do it. Now, I don't expect you to glue a bunch of things on one stick every time. So what I thought might be a good idea is, if they understand tens and ones, you could actually use something like crayons. They could even go out in the yard and gather sticks, and those could be their groups of tens. And then for the ones, I just have some little individual pumpkin seeds. You could use rocks. It doesn't matter. What they really need to see is what a 10 and a 1 might represent. So let's take, for instance, 32. Now, I don't have 3 groups of 10 like this, but I do have these 3 crayons, and I'm going to consider the crayons the tens. So I would have 3 tens, and then I would have 2 ones, and that would be my 2 pumpkin seeds. Your child may just need to practice. What does 32 look like? What does 24 look like? Have them show you with the manipulatives that you found around your house or in the yard. Then you can move to the next step, which would be actually drawing them. And when you draw them, if I have 32, I tell the students this is 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, and I use circles. They're going to want to try to draw them big, so I try to tell them to keep them kind of small. So this would represent 3 tens, 2 ones, which is 32. 10, 20, 30, 31, 32. 24, which is 2 tens and 1, 2, 3, 4 ones. So they could just draw. You could write a number. They could draw these to represent the tens and ones, and you can see if they have an idea what place value is. If they put 2 tens and 3 ones, they're still struggling with this concept or this idea. So they may need extra practice on this part. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move on, because once they've gotten the idea of tens and ones, you can start adding the tens and ones together. In New York, they show this way to do the numbers, and so they've got some other options. So we drew, and when they add to get their answer, they suggest that they loop together their ones first, and then have them count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I usually put 2 dashes here because it's going to be a 2-digit number, and they need to place this in the ones place. That's what we call this, and this would be the tens place. So now they'll count how many groups of 10 they have. 1 10, 2 10, 3 10, 4 10, 5 tens. And so the sum of 32 plus 24 equals 56. Now this might be a strategy that is a little bit new to some of you, but I really like this one because I think it helps kids understand place value better and what they're actually doing. So remember on a previous lesson we talked about number bonds, and we're going to make a number bond with the smallest number. So in this case it would be a 24. We are going to break that into tens and ones. And so this would be 20, this would be 4. You know, if you don't mind, I'm going to change this because I was thinking about this strategy more than this one. Let's do this as a 14. I think that would be a wiser decision when we're first learning this strategy. Okay, so what you do is they break it apart into tens and ones. 1 10, 4 ones. Remember, 10 and 4 equals 14. So the next step is cross out that number. You've used it already, okay? Then I tell the kids to loop together this number that they have in their number sentence along with the 10 and write 32 plus 10. So we can just go, well, that's 3 tens 2. I have a new 10. That's 4 tens 2. So that would be 42. The next step, you write the 42 and you add 4 more. See the 4 that's still not used? So here's the 32. We made sure that this was broken apart. We used this part of it. Now that's what we have left. So we say 42 and 4 more. Tell the kids put the big number in their head, 42. We're gonna go 4 more, 43, 44, 45, 46. And that's how we end up with a 46. This strategy works really well when we have to regroup. And I will do another lesson on that soon. But for now, this is one of the ways you can also do this kind of a problem. Let's talk about algorithms. I think most of you are going to be the most comfortable with these because I believe many of you adults used this type of strategy when you were in school. An algorithm is actually taking this problem and writing it instead of horizontally, going vertically. And so, I'm running out of room, but let me go ahead and put it down here. If I have my number 32, I have to make sure, and your students need to make sure they understand this. I mean, your kids, they're my students, your kids. 24, the 4 has to line up in the ones place. The 2 tens must line up in the tens place. And then this means add, and this means equal for them. And I'll bet you recognize this. So we always tell them to start in the ones place first in case we have to carry when we get to regrouping. 4 and 2 more is 6. 3 tens and 2 tens is 5. Now I had some lined paper at the house and I saw this on probably Pinterest or something like that. And it is kind of a neat idea. If you have any of this kind of paper at home, you could make these kind of problems for your children on it. The idea is to make sure, and these lines are really small, so I'm gonna make mine actually a little bit bigger. If you turn it this way, they could put the 3 tens and the 2 ones to line up with the lines, and then the 4 can go right under, the 2 can go right under, and then your addition. So they don't end up writing clear over here. Sometimes kids will want to write here for their answer. It gets kind of confusing when they do that. So this should help them line up their problems if you'd like to try it that way. I hope these help you. Students, I hope you're learning. Parents, I really felt like I needed to give you an option of trying to see some of the ways that we do these kinds of problems at school. See you soon.